So at this point, we're pretty much meant to go to Defiance Bay. The main story has us going to the Temple of Wetica. We have Edgar wants to go to the record archives. I'm not actually entirely sure where the cliffs are from this vision, if I remember correctly. But it's supposed to be some big cliffs. Cliffs overlooking the water. There's only so many places that could be. I don't think they said specific places when they were discussing this. I think that was only the explanation of the person who conned her into going where I met her. But I think my vision was just like a description of a location. But Defiance Bay might be where we find some cliffs. It's probably the ocean, is where I would guess. And then there's kind of endurance, or just kind of general progress things that happen over time.
Whoever has to clean up this place.
That's very funny, Edgar. It's even funnier the 12th time. It's very funny. You're very funny. Have I told you how funny you are? I don't think it was Anslog's compass, because I kind of explored that, didn't see shit. Could be somewhere around here, technically. My top guess would probably be maybe even the cliffs around this town. We would have to see. We've been to the... I think we've already been to these plains, right? Because that's where we met her. Oh. Stormwall Gorge. That's probably where she wants to go. That's definitely very much a cliff. Huh. That's very much a cliff. Not gonna lie though, I really want to check out Defiance Bay, so I'll keep that in mind. I mean, it's pretty hard to miss it. It's the next zone over, and probably one of the only places I can go when I'm leaving of Defiance Bay. Let's go check out a new town. We have no choice but to acquire the herbs. I don't want to miss any herbs, just because you never know when they might be the one thing you need for something. I bet there's all sorts of story content over here. It's like the biggest city in the game, probably. Welcome to Defiance Bay, but watch yourself in our city. Understand?
Good day, stranger.
What can I do for you? What can you tell me about Defiance Bay? Sorry, but I don't have time to talk right now. But it sounds like that Dozens crackpot, Rowan, is stirring up trouble again. He jerks his head up at the gate. He'd be all too happy to give you a rundown of the city. Liberally flavored with the Dozens propaganda, of course. Why would you recommend I go to a person that you don't want to be the opinions espoused of? I'm looking for the Temple of Wetica. He scratches his beard. Not sure why you'd want to go there. He shrugs. It's in First Fires if you really want to see it. You seem to be on edge. What's the problem? Thousands of them, truth be told. We've got refugees coming in from all parts under some misguided notion that things are actually better here. That the legacy somehow passed us over. So they show up with no prospects and little money and just end up making a worse mess of things. He looks at you up and down. No offense. Goodbye. And good luck to you. Alright, so we have an idea where to go. Anything hanging out over? Yep, over here. I'm so sorry, Edgar. I accidentally put it all in your inventory. There it is. Flip. Yep. Welcome to the zone of the microzones. I imagine most of these maps aren't very big. Well, it looks like it'd take an eternity to get around in here. It's probably not going to be that bad. I might intentionally walk around the Temple of Wetica, just to sort of like explore and find what side quests I can. I'm really trying not to...
Defiance Bay, the city at the heart of the Deerwoods Revolution, now seems on the brink of another. Refugees line the streets, homeless and hungry, displaced by White One's legacy. hoping for relief within the city walls, and finding none. Dissidents congregate to protest and to heckle, calling for an end to animancy and the ouster of their duke. The city's militiamen cast fearful looks as they patrol the streets, their hands trembling at the hilts of their weapons. The capital of a country that had not long ago incinerated a god now appears to be a spark away from sharing the deity's fate.
Since I see my rapid story progression as being the mistake of last playthrough, I'm kind of trying to specifically avoid that. This looks, wow, a lot bigger. Okay. Got the Goose and Fox, the marketplace. Admeth's Den, Expedition Hall. Pernisk's house. Limdala. Scrivener's dormitory. The Hall of Revealed Mysteries. First Fires. Catacombs, and Brackenbury. Was that the next area over here? Yep.
Yeah.
Well now. Map got considerably larger.
The city of Defiance, crown jewel of the Deerwood. If you ask the locals, anyway.
These animances have brought divine wrath upon us all.
Gods keep you.
Oh, there's Rowan. Rowan's arms are crossed, and his mouth is set in a grim frown as he watches the gathered protesters. He looks ready for a fight. He sizes you up. New in town, eh? You've picked an interesting time to visit Defiance Bay. All these refugees fleeing the frontier and finding the legacies no better here. It's the Animancers, Magra and Scorch'em. And they nest in this city like rats. You mark my words, though, us dozens are gonna put a stop to it. What are you doing out here? He gestures at the crowd, which buzzes with angry chatter, trying to get folk to see reason. We're in the midst of a crisis. Instead of purging the nefarious forces from our city, the Duke is granting Animancers dangerous liberties. What do you know about animancy? It's the study and manipulation of essence, which any sane person will tell you is the purview of the gods. The Adirans at least had the sense to outlaw it, which is the only good thing you can say about them. It's not like magic, chanting, or the soul readings those ciphers do. It's been around since ancient and Within times, which is why you'll see Animancers tinkering with old and Within artifacts. Canna raises a fist to cough discreetly into it. Half-truths, all. But he's an enthusiastic performer, I'll give him that. He shakes his head. Trouble is, the Animancers got no idea what half those artifacts actually do. Not that they'll admit it. Our empathic friend is correct about one thing, at least. Tell me about the dozens. He taps his chest. We're an organization of interested citizens who want to free Defiance Bay from the dangerous influence of Animancers and the tyranny of the aristocrats who support them. We also consider ourselves a militia of sorts, seeing as the Crucible Knights are little more than a flock of preening nobles in training these days. Just like a militia, the dozens, except for their training. And the discipline, and the code of honor. His eyes gleam. We're always looking to expand. The more people see things our way, the better for the state of the country. You have any interest in hearing more, stop by Admeth's Den sometime, the Expedition Hall. A lot of free thinkers in there. Can set straight all the nonsense the nobles and Animancers want you to believe. Might even be some paid work there for motivated types. I'd like to know more about Defiance Bay. This is the capital of the free Palatinate of the Deerwood. We started out as the capital of the Adiran colony, but we booted the flaccid scepter from these lands 150 years ago. These days, we're a major port receiving trade and visitors from all around the world. But we, some of us anyway, strive to hold on to the pioneering spirit that earned us our freedom a century and a half ago. The city is divided into 5 districts. Copperlane, First Fires, Andra's Gift, Brackenbury, and Heritage Hill. He ticks each off on a calloused finger. Tell me about Copperlane. This here is Copperlane. He taps a scuffed boot on the cobblestones. It's primarily a market district, but you've also got the Expedition Hall directly north of here, where you can join treks into the wilds. That's also where my fellow dozens martyrs and I tend to meet up with other concerned citizens. He points to a long domed building west and north of your position. And that's the Hall of Revealed Mysteries. Eerie place if you ask me, but they've got the biggest library in the Deerwood. Kinda laughs. Eerie indeed. It might be less so if more kith stepped inside. Perhaps we ought to visit, Yaskier, and see just what mysteries are to be revealed. Tell me more about the Brackenbury. A noise of disgust rattles in his throat. The nobility that didn't sail back to a deer stayed there. Most of the families there trace their lineage back to old imperial times. Other than a lot of has-been nobility, you've got Hadrit House, where Lady Webb and her spies operate, and Brackenbury Sanitarium, the main cesspit of animancy in the city. He spits in the cobblestones. Tell me more about the First Fires. That's where the revolution started, hence the name. These days it's overrun with politicians and panderers, but we'll take it back someday. That's where you'll find the Ducal Palace, the Valian Embassy, and the Crucible Keep. He shakes his head. The Crucible Knights were the original freedom fighters in Defiance Bay, but now they're just strutting peacocks with their eyes on fancy titles and their heads up their asses. There's an old temple of Wetica there, too. We keep it real nice for her. He winks. Tell me about Andra's Gift. Got the name because it was a wetland that was drained back in the Imperial days. Now it's a seedy district populated by sailors, common folk, and more than a few thugs. But it's a fun place, too, if you know where to look. He winks and elbows you. Look for a place called the Salty Mast when you're there. Other than that, it's mostly warehouses and abandoned homes. Tell me about Hermitage Hill. He shivers. It used to be one of the more prestigious districts in the city. Heroes of the Revolution claimed plots up there, next to an ancient and Within tower in the city cemetery. Had the best views in Defiance Bay. Attracts richer types these days. A lot of animancy patrons. He spits. He glances at the crowd and lowers his voice. You wouldn't have heard, but something happened over there a couple months ago. The authorities sealed it off, and they're keeping their mouths shut. But mark my words, animancy's to blame. Farewell. Well, that's a lot to take in. Now the hard part is remembering any of it. But we got the intro. There's the seedy district that used to be a swamp and now is a moral swamp. Ha! There's the capitally central area that has the Temple of Wetica and also a lot of the important sounding buildings. We're in the trade district that also has the mercenaries or mercenary-like things like explorers and stuff. The Goose and the Fox. Probably the inn, right? Marcurus Solomatine, Irishti Tungsten, and the Vulture. Nah. Pretty done with you guys. I have enough books to read. This Stelgare's pelt is thick with dust and moths. The plaque below the beast reads, Maiden Falls, 2682.
Greetings.
The man behind the bar is nearly the size of an Amawa. A handle protrudes from his back. What does that mean? Oh, like for loot, probably? Or just a handle of something, I guess. He's just wearing something on his back. And his face is set to a stoic frown. He gives you a small nod. Here for a drink? There's a tiny pewter cup in front of him. He turns it in one broad hand but doesn't drink from it. Tell me about yourself. Name's Bishop. Used to be a scholar of Barroth. Now I run the Goose and Fox and keep the regulars in line. He shifts, and you see a warhammer strapped to his back. What more is there to tell? How'd you go from religion to taverns? The journey isn't as long as you'd think. It started with the Hollowborn, and with this. He takes a black bottle from under the bar and fills the pewter cup. It was my sister's son. He takes a drink. At the beginning of Wadwin's legacy. He was one of the first. I never expected there to be so many after him. Tragedy is part of the cycle, but it's followed by rebirth. Yet every year, more parents were grieving for their Hollowborn children, and the gods were silent. So you lost your faith? He leans forward, crossing his arm on the bar. Barroth promises rebirth, cycles, but the only cycle I found was this one. He taps the bar. Have a drink, have another, and another, until I couldn't remember how I got home. Wake up, come back. I finally woke up one day to see my family had packed up and left. For all I know, they'd left days before and I just hadn't noticed. But they were gone, so I came here. I've cleaned up since then. Not that I found my answers. He tosses the cup back. I've just stopped asking questions. This is a lively place. It was founded in the early days of the Deerwooden independence by a traveling scholar named Errol of Levi. He wanted a place where kith of all backgrounds could gather and hash out the issues facing their new country. He rests his elbow on the polished wood of the bar. It didn't take long for the place to fill up. Brackenbury aristocrats argued with dock workers from the Gift, while soldiers wrangled with politicians. Deerwoodens have never been known to turn down an argument. He takes a sip from the tiny cup. I can imagine things got interesting. Soon, kith were coming from the farms and settlements too. He waves at the door, as if expecting a crowd to bustle in. This place got even more popular when the Valiant soldiers, with the Valiant sailors than the Salty Mast. And that was the problem. He drains his cup. No matter what people say about fair-mindedness and civil debate, there's only so much people will tolerate. Errol found himself on the wrong side of an argument with the wrong Thane. And when he disappeared a few days later, some said it was the work of that Thane. He shrugs, spreading his hands over the bar as he surveys the room. But Errol knew which way the wind was blowing. If you ask me, he skipped town, hid out somewhere, hoping for rational minds to prevail in Defiance Bay. He cracks a wry grin. If only he could see it now. Let's see what he sells. Food, 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 and a dog. Look at him. That's a yellow lab. Aw, I had a yellow lab. There could never be another. Ooh, God. Yeah, those get expensive quickly. Up to 1,000 CP for level 4. And they're always lower level than the rest of the party, right? Oh, Eddar.
The dozens.
Y-
Pretty sure you won't find one among them who stood within 100 miles of that bridge when the Godhammer went off. Too bad, too. Soon there'd be less of them.
What, then they'd be the tens? Why do they call themselves the dozens? Was 12 Deerwoodens stood outside the Halgo Citadel, waiting for Wedwin to cross the bridge there. They had to hold him there long enough for the Godhammer to detonate, so that's what they did. Godhammer? That's what they call the bomb they blew up Wedwin with. Don't know much about it other than that. Anything kills a living god? Guess you gotta name it. What do you have against the dozens? Ah, nothing serious. Nothing I don't have against a lot of folks, anyway. The dozens, they like to take things into their own hands. Gets ugly sometimes. We don't have them in Gilded Vale, but they'd be right at home there. They picked that name up so they could do what they wanted and feel like it was right. Got nothing to do with honor or sacrifice. They like to invoke Magrin too, when they especially want to feel right. Somehow I don't think she'd be too impressed with that lot. I'm sure she'd like to set him on fire anytime they use her name, but the gods probably got rules against that kind of thing. People hide behind symbols so they can't be questioned. The Duke's a reasonable man. Maybe while we're in Defiance Bay, we can get him to force people to call themselves what they are. Don't imagine they'd have as many members that called themselves the loudmouth sheepfuckers. Let's continue on. Good idea. Loud laughing the moment the dialogue ended. That was almost startling. Nope, that's a thief icon. That miserable bastard. Kendra. A woman sits by herself, spinning something on the table in front of her and watching it with furious intensity. It's about the size of a coin and it wobbles over a crack in the wood with a metallic rattle. She snatches it up with one hand and slaps a half-empty cup down the table with the other. This is not a good time. You look like you could use another drink. I'll get there. She takes a long drink from her glass, just trying to calm down, and trying to talk myself out of something foolish. Something foolish? She says nothing for a few moments as if hoping you'll leave. At last, Kendra looks up at you. The lamplight falls across her face. A purpling bruise is blossoming under her cheekbone. There's something I need to give to my fiancé, Pernisk. Only he doesn't seem to go anywhere without his new friends, and they're not exactly pleasant company. Who hit you? She shakes her head. I know how it looks, but you don't understand. It's not like Persink. It's these new friends of his. They brought out the worst in him. Tell me about these friends. They come into our house with their dead eyes and their black teeth. I'm not a fool, I know what that means. Pernisk makes me leave when they show up, but it's obvious what they come to do. Last time they came, I told them to get out. Let them have their fun somewhere in the gift, but not under my roof. She scowls and then winces, her fingertips gently probing her bruise. Svef changes you, I guess. The Pernisk I knew wouldn't have squashed a spider. I never thought he'd... She trails off, still feeling the swollen, discolored flesh. I thought Svef just made people lay around not doing much. Kendra shrugs. I don't really know. Seemed better than believing he's always been this way. Maybe I could go talk to him. Her hand rests on the table, and she clenches it into a white-knuckled fist. There's nothing more to say to him. We're finished. I just want to give this back to him and have a clean break. She opens her hand, and a ring clatters onto the table. It was his grandmother's. Even after this, I don't have the heart to sell it off. But if I go back there myself, I know what'll happen. I'll lose my temper, and I'll probably wind up with another one of these. She points to her bruise. I'll take this ring to Pernisk then. He looks at you and nods. The house is just north of here. Just... please don't hurt him. As furious as I am, I don't want that on my conscience. Domestic abuse and drug addiction. These are fun themes that are light and airy in a whimsical game where happy things happen.
Let's see what lies this way.
There's a back room, but not one we can go in. Merchant and actor. You come to talk some sense to this fellow, I hope? Alright. Hate to say it, but the legacy's been good for business. Painting depicts Glenfathen ruins, and the canvas bears the rough brushstrokes of a talented amateur. April's Well, 2665. A dwarf and an Orland debate philosophy on the other side of this curtain. What's with these three? Nothing loosens tongues like a good pint. Are you here for some words of wisdom too? You hear this guy? Mad, I tell you.
Yeah.
Am I doing an all? Let's go. I'll have to turn it in anyway by talking to her, I'm sure. I might try an alternate structure where whenever I find a quest, I try to do said quest, and then I try to go back to where I find the quest when it's over, and then try to find more things from scratch. Because it is a little messy to like pick up 50 quests and then try to solve them all, and also try to remember them all and everything. But it is efficient and also easier to navigate half the time, because it can be hard to remember where you left off and where you haven't been if you're not systematically exploring. But I might try it. Just try to be a little less systematic with the exploring, just so I can stop to do each quest, then go back to try to remember where I left off exploring. So I'll explore the second floor after I've turned in the quest, is my logic. And then continue around the area vaguely counterclockwise. Yep, those are attics. The game tells me so. What's happening? Am I imagining this? A couple of crude beds have been improvised from an assortment of tattered blankets and pillows. Dribbles of some dark liquid stain the fabric. Gross. Yo, would you all like some of my dark liquids? Feel free to make yourself comfortable down there. Top floors, off limits. Someone has peeled the labels from these bottles. They're stuffed with a dark, gunky pulp that gives off a pungent odor.
I can do that.
Doesn't say stealing, technically.
As requested.
Don't blah. Now it says stealing. Well, I've already invested in opening it, so let's be bad people. You just wander off for a second, buddy.
Hello? Hello?
That was barely even worth doing. Yep. Out of curiosity, does said scepter get marked as... No? I don't think it gets marked as being naughty. The Book of Valiant Love Sonnets has a dedication on the first page to my beloved Kerna. Yep. That might indicate a previously different personality.
Good day, stranger.
The man before you flashes a toothy grin, rather unpleasant. Oh, a toothy and rather unpleasant grin. Well now, new face. Welcome, friend. Name's Pernisk. And this, he gestures to the room around you, is my humble abode and place of business. And I do hope you're here to do some business. He glances at the nearby guard. What is your business exactly? If you have to ask, Pernisk smirks. Let's be clear. You go running to the guards, you're going to regret stepping foot in this place. In fact, if you even put odds on your... I'd even put odds on you regretting every decision you made in your life to leave you standing in front of me right now. I think I more regret the decisions that led to me becoming a person with a shredded soul. His face shivers with a quick, unreadable emotion. But you stay smart, and I figure we can end up very good friends. You can ask my previous customers. They'll vouch for my supply. He grins. I keep it simple. If you have the coin, I have the SWEF. You're free to make use of the premises so long as you don't do anything stupid. And you don't get to tangling with my other customers now. Pernus claps his hands together. What can I get you? What is SWEF? You serious? Pernus eyes you with suspicion, then disbelief. SWEF's worth every pan, my friend. It's incredible. Let you see your own soul. That's not really a problem for me. And you're looking at Defiance Bay's first and foremost SWEF merchant. Let me see what you have in your stock. That is SWEF. Do I have SWEF already? I feel like I do, but I'm not really sure. You'd probably be in the herbs category, so yeah, I don't see that icon on here. I was curious if I just randomly found any around. Wow, this is not the most high budget enterprise. It's kind of, no, it's up there. It'd take out a majority of my money, and since most people don't go on deadly dungeon dives, it's usually not a thing for them. Give Kieran's ring to Prince. It's checked in, but I didn't give it to him. It says that I gave it to him, but I didn't give it to him. That's confusing.
Good day to you.
Karen asked me to give you this. Ernest takes the ring and turns it around his fingers. Nice. What's this for? You don't recognize the wedding band you gave Kierna? Ernest laughs. Oh yeah, I see it now. She's making a statement, is she? Good riddance to her then. Sorry I ever spent the coin to begin with. Now is that all? Seems a difficult thing to forget, giving your grandmother's ring to someone. Maybe she's just not worth remembering, eh? Your grandmother or your fiance? Yeah, he was obsessively writing like love poems and stuff for her before, so like either he's like going like full sociopath and just like manufacturing obsession and emotion, and the whole thing has fallen to the wayside now. Or something has actually changed with his personality, like something darker than maybe just the drug use. Like a possession or some sort of trick. She seemed to care for you. Why are you doing this? Plenty of stars in the sky. Tell her to go set up in the salty mast if she's feeling lonely. But he's telling her to sell her, he's saying to sell her body, isn't he? Pernus shrugs. Me and her are done. How dare you hit your own fiancé? How can you live with yourself? She was asking for it. Pernus growls. Sort of like you right now. Maybe you ought to quit digging around in affairs that don't concern you. Me? I've got business to get back to. He points. Doors that way. I'm not gonna say that I'm gonna investigate. Jesus. It's true. I'm gonna go figure out the truth. I'm not gonna ask for it. I keep it simple. I read that already. Yep, something weird's going on with him.
Yeah.
Alright, let's see how much I can get away with walking around before people get mad. They said don't go upstairs. The guard holds up a hand as you approach. You can turn right back around. The lower floor is all yours, but nobody goes upstairs. What's up there? The guard shakes his head. What do you think? The bedroom, all that. Private things, I'm saying. You don't go creeping through other people's rooms. Any chance you could look the other way? The guard narrows his eyes, then takes the money. I do like the view over this way. He turns around. I was gonna say, how am I gonna sneak in? And the answer is, I'm gonna pay this asshole. The pots are crusted shut with some identifiable gunk. Gross. I didn't mean to do that. Try not to actively aggravate the potential stealing mechanic that might exist in this game. I'm guessing like something crazy might be up here, like demonic possession or a summoning thing or some sort of weird magic something.
Ready, Watcher.
Let's be careful. I don't know if anyone's up here. We'll play as the stealthiest character. There's a mercenary. Multiple mercenaries. Will this give away what happened? Nope, it's just gonna make... Oh, I just got my money back. That was easy. Immediate net gain. No! I have part 1. Where's part 2? I got a lot of my money back. This was very easy, actually. Alright, how much can I get away with sneaking up here before I get caught? Ooh, that's a number of them. And their attack on sight. I don't think my chances are great. Nope. Nope. Oh, one of them's coming over. Yeah, no, we're not sneaking in. This is definitely a fight everybody situation. And then hope that the deaths I cause are worth the information I gain, basically. Gotta take these guys out and hope that it was worth it. And that they are in fact up to something bad. I mean, they are drug dealers, so they're not up to anything good. But, you know, the overcriminalization of drug use is a problem these days. But something's definitely wrong with that guy. And I'm hoping that it's worth doing a kill for.
Let's go.
Give everyone that accuracy bonus. Yeah. Who doesn't like a nice little accuracy bonus? Screw some dudes up. Oh yeah, this is gonna go clean. Did it say they were knocked out? Was that non-lethal? Damn, they were loaded. Alright, padded caps. Some good old money. The key we probably need. Alright, these might be good. Fine stiletto, fine spear, fine flail, fine greatsword. Okay, generic items, but fine ones, I suppose. Fine small shield. Yeah, these are just generic finds. Okay, just loot them. They'll make me some money. I'm gonna make some bank, actually. Fine items are super valuable. It appears as though someone rummaged through this uneven row of books in a hurry. These jars are chipped and cracked, as if knocked to the ground and set back in place. Adirian dialects. Who's got the blue books? I already have that one there. That's the main reason I'm sorting by color, is because then I can quickly check for duplicates, but that only works if I haven't read it yet, and can remember that I haven't read it yet, because I might not always remember which books I've read, unfortunately. Not by name, anyway. Is that the real him? Oh, are they wearing a disguise? That's an easier explanation, actually, if they're doing some kind of polyjuice potion style thing, where they're just... they're glamored to look like him, and that's why he doesn't remember his own grandmother's ring. And has a completely different personality. Someone's gathered sheets and towels into a makeshift bed. The rumpled fabric is stiff with blood and unwashed sweat. I wish I hadn't given him the ring. Although if I might be about to go downstairs and murder him, though, so then I'll probably have the ring again. On the side of the overturned vase is... one side of the overturned vase is splotched with crimson. Well, the good news is he's alive. Hey, Durance, can you heal him up? A man lies, bound and bloodied, on the floor before you. His face is a tapestry of bruises, and blood is spattered across several corners of the room. The man cringes and sobs as you approach. How long has he been bleeding? I thought this was like a days or weeks or months long, like, abuse campaign. Gods, please, please no more. I can't take any more. I'm not here to hurt you. The man pauses, gazing up at you. You're not? Oh, praise Bareth, you're not one of his men, are you? He glances nervously behind you. He shakes his head. Please. I don't know who you are, but my name is Pernisk. This is my house. You have to help me. Then who was that downstairs? An imposter. Some wizard named Nyrid. He came into my house, tied me up in here, tortured me. And now he and his men are eating my food, breaking my things, selling Svef inside my own house. He blinks. He just turned up all of a sudden. Prince looks away, unable to meet your gaze. I may have hung on to a tiny portion of my supplier's share, but I needed that money. So you're a Svef dealer. Prince winces. Look, I know it's not the best line of work, especially with all that's happened, but it pays well. Very, very well. And, well, people want the stuff, don't they? What did your supplier do? He sent over the wizard, Nyrid, the man downstairs. Prince shudders. To make up the lost copper, I guess, and to hurt me while he was at it. It feels like it's been days. Hold still, I'll get you free. No, wait, Prince says, his eyes wide with panic. I can't go out there. Not while he's downstairs. I've been tied up for God knows how long. Please, you have to kill him. Maybe I can convince him to leave. Prince shakes his head. You don't know him, what he's capable of. You'll see soon enough. Uh-huh. Well, now we've learned what's going on, more or less. And it's not a good thing. And it's not what I guessed. I didn't guess that he'd be an imposter, keeping the real one tied up upstairs. Just sounds harder than brainwashing someone or whatever. Oh well. I'll give him one little talking to. But we're probably gonna have to fight him. And if we're gonna have to fight him, I'm gonna want everybody to, like... That's about right. Some semblance of people having cover by being along this back line over here. I found the man you tied up upstairs, the one also claiming to be Pernisk. The toothy smile falters. That's so. He shakes his head. Shame you had to go digging around, friend, 'cause now I can't exactly let you leave, can I? Nope, we're not having any discussion. No skill check here for convincing him. Or maybe we're not over yet. Was getting tired of pretending to be that sad sack anyhow. His mouth curves into a snarl. Guards! Hold on, maybe we can come to an arrangement. What do you propose? Nah. I don't want to discount on your fucking drugs. I just want you to go away. And that's not going to come so easy, so... Well, I'm going to have to ask you to not cast any spells, spellcaster, so let's start with a nice heavy use of this. Oh, combat only. We technically weren't in combat yet, so now to give half these people new orders. Let's pump up that DR if I can. We're so nested in with a bunch of groups of friends. Just not a great idea. Let's just start with the focus fire. Did I click right? There we go. All right, y'all get started. Oh, wow. Well, he went down instantly. Stop. Nyrid staggers back, holding a bloody hand in front of him. I give up. Just leave and I'll go peacefully, alright? You can go peacefully into my dungeon. He flinches, regret already building behind his eyes. If that's my only choice. I wonder what use that capture will be. Also, shit. I just teleported him to my dungeon, I guess, but also the fight's still happening? That's not what I expected. There's still a lot of enemies, so I should be careful here. What, did I hit the wrong one? That's Dire Blessing. There we go. I want to make them suck. Gotcha, gotcha. Oh no, they're not gonna last. They were not worth those spell casts. I have somewhat overinvested, perhaps. Oh yeah, they just weren't very... Turns out some random drug dealers don't really stand up to the threats that I've done in the past. I overinvested on spellcasts. But I'm sure I'll be resting plenty around here. Look at all this money. And generic crap I don't mostly care about? Yeah. Okay.
Indeed.
Did I loot the ring back since it's not... Oh, right, there's more of you guys that didn't hear that, apparently. Okay, formation, everybody.
Keeping quiet.
Hi there.
Quick.
This ends very poorly for you. Yep. Hi. Such plentiful organs you have.
Quick.
There we go. Nice to meet you, buddy. That's 30 right there, isn't it? Yeah. Wow. You know the only business better than being a drug dealer in this game? Killing drug dealers. Freaking plot twist. Oh wait, let's go. Don't leave. He's tied up upstairs. I can let him go now. Poor guy. But also he's a drug dealer. But like I said, you know, not inherently completely wrong, but so it's more all of the other thuggy, criminally behavior surrounding drug dealing that's really fucked up. Like all the murder and control of people. As opposed to the hedonism. Is it done? Is he dead? He's already taken care of. Ernest stares at you. I can't believe this nightmare is finally over. He grins weakly, then seems to remember something. You've no idea what you've done for me, but... He looks up at you in a way again. I need to find my love, Kendra, only... After whatever Nyrid put her through, I'm afraid she won't give me a chance to explain, but she might listen to you. Please, she must be somewhere in Copperlane. It's the only home she's known. And please, don't tell her about this Fef, about what I do. I could make it worth your while. A discount, maybe? Perhaps you should trust her to make her own decisions rather than lie to her. I know, and I can't force you to keep this secret. I just don't want to lose her, and after what's happening here, I'm sure she won't have anything to do with Svef, or me if she finds out. Kendra sent me here in the first place. She did? Bernisk smiles brightly. That woman's helped save my life without realizing it. Please, bring her home and tell her that everything's back to normal. I'll go talk to her. I can't thank you enough, truly. How I've missed my poor Kendra. He's back to his old self. The question is that good or not? He got himself into this whole mess. I don't have any intention to lie about any of this to her. She needs all the information that she can to deal with the situation. Because ultimately this whole thing is on some level his fault. Because he entered into this dangerous situation full of dangerous people. And tricking her into living in that situation without knowing about it, it's just fucked up. Because this kind of thing could happen again. Kendra looks up at you as you approach. What happened with Pernisk? Did you give him the ring? This is some... Alright. I would expect it to be multiple pieces of dialogue and not instead of just one click, but maybe they had to script it that way. Because I'm like, this is like one of those moments in a movie or a television show where somebody has to do one line of dialogue that's just a little too exposition heavy. Like... Say one thing, then she responds, then move on to like eventually mentioning, by the way, he's a drug dealer. But like, this just going all at once seems a little unnatural. Cause you feel like she'd react after the first sentence, and then you wouldn't be able to just keep going. Pernisk was also being impersonated by a powerful wizard. However, the real Pernisk also deals Svef. She covers her mouth with her hand, shocked. Pernisk? My Pernisk is a Svef dealer? If I didn't know you for an honest man... She brings her fist down on the table, sloshing her drink. Damn it. How could I trust him after something like this? That he's lied to me for this long. She runs her hand through her hair, takes a deep breath. I should just be glad I found out about this before the wedding. He still loves you. Do you really want to give up your future together? Perhaps you're right. If he's willing to give it up, we can work this out. Seems worthwhile to give him a chance anyway. Oh. And take this. She clasped something from her neck. Picked it up from one of the merchants to help me stand firm in my decision. I'll be fine without it now. Unwavering resolve. Have I compromised her resolve in my behavior? Hey, we're on our way again. And it's on my way to doing an entire episode of leveling again. 2 intellect, 1 resolve. Damn. Bonus healing received. +5 reflex. That's a good tanking amulet. Fortitude reflex will, but 25% healing received. Nine will. Fortitude reflex will. Oh, there you go. Disengaging. A ranger seems about right for that one. +2 intellect. +2 dexterity. When does this happen again? Give myself bonus endurance. It just does a tiny micro heal. I've like never used that, and it's also not that great. These are all core stat upgrades, aren't they? They're like super good for my protagonist. 1 constitution, 2 intellect, 1 resolve, 2 dexterity. My stats have to be kind of crazy as a result. Yeah. Damn. Yeah, they're like all of my stats except perception are increased. Perception and might. Huh. Well. Good shit. Good shit. Well, we've done our poking around. I don't necessarily fully endorse or encourage her to pursue the relationship with that dude, but I was just giving her second thought of like, I don't know. Do you want to throw the whole thing away? Just reminding her a bit that everything that bad that was happened, while it was technically his fault, he's not the one that started like hitting her and abusing her or anything like that. That was a consequence of his decisions, but it wasn't him. So just kind of giving her pause, but just like how she instantly changed her mind from the first line, she instantly changed her mind from the second line. So I don't know if she does have unwavering resolve after all. I'm not sure if that's accurate. Let's rest.
Well, my friend.
Especially a second. Nope, it's never free. It's only free in the place where I got a discount, and because I was because they were a fan of me. Plus 10 defense when what? It doesn't say when it is. This part I could do with a little intellect. Although it only applies to people. I think there's supposed to be a thing where things don't stack, which could be a problem there too. To avoid them becoming overpowered.
If doubts and curiosity plague you, you're skinning your knuckles on the wrong door.
Tell me about Magran. Does she have any allies?
Some, shaped for hunt and war. Abidan the Golem. Galawain and his beasts. The latter keeps us honest and awake. The other makes the tools by which we punish those who are not.
Abidan? Not surprised you haven't heard. More gods than weeds in a field, and those are not the ones of this lifetime. They come and go, but are always here at the same time. Abidan used to look human. Durance grunts. Got killed, then built a new body for himself. Transformation, with Magran's help. Perhaps she needed her own blacksmith to tend the fires. If so, Abidan serves it. Durance frowns. He's a weapon, a tool, not a god, in my mind. Still, the people of Deerwood, the cities especially, hold him dear. So be it. Although if the reward for hard work and craftsmanship is a body like his, I'll keep my blood and my cock and hips to thrust it with. Okay. You mentioned Galawain? Monster Father, the Great Hound, and as for monsters, this world has quite a bit, and not just the ones on two legs. It's as if he's made monsters solely to hunt them, to remind men of their place. He's busy making more, I suspect, more monsters than sense, variation upon variation. What do you mean? His aspects are a confusing bunch. And considering he respects reversals of fortune, especially in beasts, perhaps not so confusing. No reason why Magran and he share a bed, in my eyes. Even if he does believe in the trial, a filthy Orlan god in many ways, howling and mewling perhaps like they do. They can keep their beasts. I'll take fire and weapons any day. I want to ask something else about Magran. Stare too long into the fire, you might blind yourself, Watcher, he chuckles. That and touching yourself might do the same. Okay, he's big on talking about his dick these days. Who are her enemies?
Before, when you asked about allies, well now, ally, enemy, that's a skin's edge of difference in history's eye. But there were enemies. Were.
Eothas. Durance gives a cold grin, nods. But we sorted that out. Then, Hylia, and her queen's crown of feathers and birds. He sneers. Perhaps she claims to see the world from her perch. I hope she saw what happened to Eothas, and if she dares to walk upon an earth where such fire runs. Her temples are things of windows and twittering music. If a bird falls, know that it's a victory. Seeing another set of darting eyes from that feathered bitch die is a pleasure to me. You bear her a lot of rage. She and her clergy offer shelter to the Othasians. Since his death, his humiliation, she's next for me.
I suspect the answers will seed more questions.
I want to know more about you. He grunts. Where are you from?
Where I hail from? From one of Magran's fires. A cathedral, ashfall, made of blackened trees. I studied the scriptures there, the fires carved into the land, the trunks of the burnt trees, and in the factories where the rifles and cartridges were shaped. All are chapels in other devotions.
Other devotions? Durance nods. For Magran, any fire is enough for worship, physical or not. A blacksmith's anvil, a craftsman's bench, all arenas where fire is waiting to be born. Durance snaps his finger. It just needs a spark, like an alchemical fire, or a spark to cartridges, to speed them to their purpose. Their purpose? Durance tilts his head, thinking. Well, their purpose then. It was many thens ago. Durance scratches his beard. Beard was a little brighter than now. But yes, cartridges, guns all had a purpose, and that purpose was punching holes in mages and letting their pompous air hiss out. Durance gives a half smile, then a nod. Woke their kind right up, and kept them staring at the ceiling, in the dark, instead of sleeping. That's for certain. Aloth rolls his eyes. Pompous air indeed. A little violence as an accounting, an answer for unchecked power. Well, Magran gave an answer for that. Magran put soldiers and mages on equal footing. Durance nods again. Mages were troublesome in that time. Firearms made every man a mage, and a caster's pretty arcane shield was little match for them. It turned each commoner into a beast that could spit fire. It leveled the field of battle, that's for certain. Made many a mage a grave. Tell me more about Ashfall. Durance grunts. You're more curious about it than most of Magran's faithful. What else can you tell me about Ashfall? What more to tell? Durance frowns, his hand tightening on his staff again, his fingers seeming to sink into the wood. It is one of the greatest fires of Magran, the High Seat, he shrugs. Some say the blackest. Not of evil, but of ash. All that remains after fire has fled. He pauses. I call it a cathedral before. That's not the full truth of it. It's more a battlefield. It lies in the heart of the war of black trees. Its timbers built from the burnt forest there. Each timber blessed by fire, and one of Magran's greatest battles. Many of us helped shape the war effort there, with flames and firearms. What is the cathedral like? Keep troubling me and I may extend the tithe bowl for each question. Enough questions for now. Let the road keep us until the next campfire. He does not like to talk for too long, possibly because he is a mountain of dialogue in itself. Huh. Well, alright, then we'll keep that in mind as we go forth. Seems to be a religion of war and conflict, which I guess I shouldn't be surprised by the worship of fire. Guns were like their crosses.